So today's question is, do we really have free will? Do we really have free will? Obviously, if I'm asking that question, there's a bent to maybe that we don't have free will. So many of the times I hear it a lot because I study and I research a lot about, oh my God, I have bagel on my hand, religion. And in religion and organized spirituality, a lot of times you are being told that you have free will, to either choose to be with God or not to be with God, or to go with the devil or go with Jesus or go with Allah or go with whatever, right? So you're constantly being told, especially in religion and in other ways, you're being told that you're an individual, and that individual has agency over their choices. And so that means that equates to free will. So you have free will to say, do I want to wear the blue shirt or do I want to wear the red shirt? Oh, I think I'm going to go with the blue shirt because whatever, right? Well, the whatever part is very important. So this is what we're going to talk about. Do you really have free will? Now, this comes back to predetermined destiny. Or do you have free will? Do you have predetermined destiny? Let me just tell you one thing. There's a reference in A Course in Miracles. If you don't know, I'm a 40-year teacher and student of A Course in Miracles. And in A Course in Miracles, it states that we all have a highly individualized curriculum. A highly individualized curriculum, right? So what does that mean? Basically, it means that Jane's life is very different than Max's life, and Max's life is very different than Joe's life, and Joe's life is very different than Roxy's life. Roxy's my cat. Very different. It's very highly individualized, right? So my experiences are going to be different than your experiences. Now, there is also something called the human experience. So it's been proven from the Poetics that Aristotle wrote in the Poetics many years ago, there are literally only so many situations that human beings can get in their lives. Specifically, Aristotle says that in the Poetics that there are 21 situations that humans get into their lives, right? And those situations are universal situations that everyone will go through some of those or one of those or all of those at some point in their life while they're here, right? So do we have a choice of whether we're going to go through those or not? That theory states that you probably don't have a choice because you're going to go through it anyway. It's going to happen anyway, right? So do you have a choice here? Do you have free will of saying, now this is big? Do you have a choice in saying, I don't want to experience bad things. I want to experience good things. Is that a choice that you have? Is that a choice you have? In many, especially in New Agey woohoo community, I'm not making fun of that. Actually, it sounds like I am, but it's based on a lot of things, is that you can change your mind, change your life, which is true. So change your mind, change your life. Let's just take that. That is a very famous phrase. I think it was coined by Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, change your mind. I think he had a PBS special and a book and a series about that. I'm pretty sure. So change your mind, change your life. So let's just take that. Now, if you change your mind, will you have a different experience of your life? Will you? Will you? What do you think? What do you think? Put in the comments what you think, and then we're going to move on. Yes, Victor says yes. There's no right or wrong here. We're not saying it's right or wrong. Lauren says yes. We're having a discussion. This isn't a test. Yes, yes, yes. Most people, Alejandra says yes. Welcome, everybody. So, in general, yes, of course. Of course. If your mind changes, and as Pamela says, your attitude will influence your life, right? Now, here's the rub, the more interesting question here. Because this is interesting. Pamela says, my attitude influences my life. So your attitude can be manipulated, or you have a choice over your attitude. You can or not. It doesn't matter what you think of that. It doesn't matter. But does that change your life? Does that change your life? So life is happening. Life is happening. Life is happening. Can I say it again? Life is happening. Life is happening. Life is happening. So, if you have a choice, can you manipulate the world? Can you manipulate the world? Is that happening? Do you have free will to manipulate the world? So we've kind of agree here, it seems to me, you agree that you can change your attitude. You can change how you look at things. In A Course in Miracles, that would be called a miracle. A shift in your perception is a miracle. So you can have miracle after miracle after miracle. It's great. Now, does that really change your world? Does the world change when you change? That's the leap. There is a leap there that's very, very crucial here, because a lot of times, not always, but it is implied that the world will change when you change your mind. I've taught that for many years. I'm not saying that's wrong or right. But if we dig deeper, you will see that your ability to change your mind is there. Let's go deeper. What are you changing your mind based on? How Pamela changes her mind is based on her story. Right? So, I'm just using Pamela as an example. So when there is this idea about, I'm going to make a choice to change my attitude, is that really free will? Or is that the result of her culture, her conditioning, what she's been reading, the people around her, or whatever happens to be? Is she really choosing that, or is it predestined? Remember what I said at the beginning, the Course in Miracles says you have a highly individualized curriculum while you are here in the dream state. So if you have a highly individualized curriculum, you might think that you're making that choice, but that choice has been made already. Based on your parents, your upbringing, your likes, your dislikes, your social circle, your financial situation, your blah, 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 blah. Many people go, I'm gonna make the choice that I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna be a millionaire, which is fine. No, nothing's wrong with that. But let's go deeper. That person is basing on their choice on their situation that they're not already a millionaire. So did they really have a choice in that? No, they didn't, because that informed their choice. You don't really have free will. You have a free will if you're going to do it or not, but all the information that's leading up to that so-called choice has been uploaded into the computer. So do you have free will? What's going on? Remember, we're not here to come to a conclusion. We're only here to bring up a question. Question is more important than an answer. So when we speak here, I'd like to bring up questions rather than find an answer, but answers are good too. Let's see what people are saying. Lauren says, let's see, our attitudes and perceptions can change, but not the circumstances. Beth says, thank you. Lisa says, I would think so, as you will experiencing things differently than you would have. Your perception of the world, that's right. Who predetermined it, Tiffany said. Who picked all that? I don't know. Who picked all that? Kyrie says, what about choices others make that dramatically impact your life? What about that? Let's talk about that for a second. Tiffany says, yes, because if I was an Indian from India and their religion, I wouldn't even be allowed to have this conversation with you. That's exactly right, Tiffany. It's kind of the point I'm making, right? So what about choices that others make that dramatically impact you? What about that? That's, yeah. So that's more personal, individual information in your experience that drives you to make a certain choice, Kyrie. That's all to be said about that. That's it. Other people do things, they affect you, they affect your dream, and then your dream reacts to that until you don't really even have a choice because you're already in reactive mode. Most choices, I'm going to say something really bold here, most choices you make in your life are a reaction. They're almost always a reaction to something. If you make a choice that's not a reaction, it is amazing. Right? Because almost always a choice is, not always, but a lot of the times, most choices are based on, think about it, you pushing against something or trying to get somewhere. So those are reactive states. Very rarely is it like, oh, that would be a great experience. I'd like that. It's almost like, I'm done with this, I have to do that. Nothing wrong with that. I love hearing other people's opinions. Often it makes me take a second thought about my own opinion. Very good, Paulette. Or a Baptist, that's right. So do you really have free will? I know what I've come to in the journey of this character. But I would like you to come to start to explore this. This is all about questions, exploring that question. Do you really have free will? Right? And that's not a right or wrong answer. It's just like when it's asked, what are you? What are you? Who are you? There's no real answer to that. That's just an exploration and a discovery process energetically, right? Blossom says, I followed my calling here and I am doing what I love on IT. Very good. And Blossom, sorry, I didn't see you. I was out on Saturday. You have the free will to have the illusion of free will. That's beautifully said there, Tiffany. Beautifully said. Because the truth is, and then we're going to wrap up. The truth is that to the separated self, telling or introducing the idea that the separated self doesn't really have a free will, it does not like that at all. It doesn't like it. It's going to be like, no, especially if you're a rugged individual American, that you're independent, all those things say that you have a choice, you have free will. So when it's suggested that possibly you don't, it's not as easy and black and white as that, the ego doesn't like that. Because the ego, what? Wants control. Control. Take a deep breath.